Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, October 18th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and charts to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get started real quick, just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So keep in the back of your mind that as I go through the content, if you're liking what you see, you want to learn more about the potential of this tool and how it can be used to help build trading consistency within your strategy, then definitely get signed up for it. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're listening at my site, claytrader.com, then there's an area right on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So no pressure or anything like that, but just keep it in the back of your mind that if you're liking what you see, then I definitely want you to get signed up for the class. First one, ticker symbol WTRH, and what a crazy afternoon. So on that note, I am doing what's called a 30-minute time frame. So if you're not sure what I mean, that just means that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So you can see this afternoon, the volume came pouring in, and wow, did the price explode, which sets up a very interesting scenario now headed into next week, because it becomes a very valid, a very rational question to throw out there. Hey, is this the start of something even bigger? No, maybe it's not. But my point here is it's at least a valid thought to be throwing out there. Case in point, if this thing just was crickets and cobwebs growing on it, it would make no sense for me to be sitting here saying, hey, is this the start of something bigger? You'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? Nothing's even going on. But in this situation, a lot of stuff's going on. So does that mean it's going to keep going on? No, but is it at least worth keeping an eye on because there's the potential there? Absolutely. And the next big kind of continuation point, or in technical jargon, the resistance point right up there at $1.55, and nothing fancy behind the reasoning other than the fact of that's just simply where you can see the momentum finally struggled on a couple different occasions right there. Now the nice thing here is that it has pulled back. Excuse me. So if you're somebody that's, I don't know, am I chasing the price? Am I suffering from, FOMO, fear of missing out? That would now be alleviated because the price has pulled back. Now, I mean, the people that chased up there, yeah, they're probably going to have a little nerve-wracking weekend. But, if you're not in it and you like to have pullbacks, well, there's your pullback right there. Again, does that mean that it's for sure going to recover? Of course not. But at least you know that you have a better risk versus reward compared to, having to chase the momentum all the way up there. But all in all, at the end of the day, huge way to close out the week here on this one. And we'll see if the momentum and kind of hoopla can build up over the weekend and maybe create that much more of an eventful Monday. Next one, ticker symbol BBIG. Did this analysis in the previous top 10 video, and I bring that up just because this red line here should look familiar. That was an area of resistance that I talked about, and the power of charts playing out right before our very eyes, assuming you watched the previous top 10 video. If not, I mean, you can always go back in the video archive and watch it. But right there, big movement up, and well, wouldn't you know it, right where the momentum disappeared, right up at that red line where I drew it. Now, are charts perfect? No, absolutely not. Nothing's perfect. But my point is, they're definitely a tool that I believe all traders should, have good, solid knowledge on within their trader tool belt. And we have a great example of that. So pointer being, not really much has changed from the overall perspective other than the fact of we got confirmation that, yeah, $9 is definitely going to be a stubborn area of resistance moving forward. But then as far as the supports are concerned, that's on the good news front. I mean, the price didn't even come close to either of those supports, let alone breaking down through them. In fact, on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that line there, so we don't have a bunch of clutter everywhere with lines, everywhere we look. So 750, still going to be a near-term level of support. But again, yeah, disappointing that the price got rejected by that resistance area, assuming you're a breakout player. But from an overarching standpoint, I mean, the chart hasn't done anything wrong at all. I mean, even if the price were to go down to 750 and then bottom out, I mean, that would still be giving you lows there, lows down here. And if you envision each of those as stair steps, well, then overall, big picture wise, you still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So yeah, disappointing in a very micro sense that it got rejected up there, but from more of a macro sense, the trend is perfectly fine. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and overall a fine day, but actually pretty similar to BBIG in the sense of, from a micro standpoint, yeah, disappointing because the price broke out through that red line at 41, which I talked about yesterday, started to move, got all the way up there, and then all of a sudden, hey, just kidding, and back down it went below the line. But then here's the kicker. Tried once again to get back above 42 or 41, but wouldn't you know it? Right there. Notice right where it struggled once again, right at that red line. So 41 has gone back to being an area of resistance. Now, the good news is I would fully agree that it's certainly been weakened up since the price has gotten up above it. But a weakened level of resistance or not, it's still got to be considered an area of resistance. So 41 remains that key dynamic to watch from the resistance side of things, which again, would fully agree it's weakened up. So that doesn't guarantee anything in terms of breaking it again. But you got to think that if the price approaches it one more time, that you got to have good odds that the price is going to be able to push up through there. But nonetheless, 41 remains that key level of support of resistance. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, the level that stands out to me now. Going to get this upwards trend line in play here, which is seemingly now helping to kind of build a nice little pattern here. So change that to green to represent more of the bullish dynamic of things. But that's going to be the near-term pattern. $41 remains that key breakout point. You have that level of support right there. We're preferably speaking, you'd want to see the price stay above it. If it doesn't, then down here at 38.65, much more important area of support. But as of right now, the price isn't. In fact, I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that line now because, it seems pretty irrelevant at this point in time. And we'll just focus on these couple levels on the pattern here that has formed. But overall, yeah, today may be a little disappointing. But again, big picture-wise, the trend continues to bounce. Next one, ticker symbol SPCE, and clearly a very rough day on this one. But the roughness, in my mind, actually sets up a very interesting scenario moving forward because, first off, it's SPCE. It's got a pretty good, solid following, and I don't want to call it a Kool-Aid following, but it does have a lot of people that believe they're probably willing to put their paycheck right into it as fast as it comes in. So there is a good, strong support. There's people that really do believe in it. And you know what? It can be kind of a high conviction stock, but it got beat down today, clearly. But when you combine high conviction stock with a big beat down, you always got to wonder, is there going to be, from a trading standpoint, that is, I'm not talking about long-term investment. From a trading standpoint, it's rational to think, I don't know, is there some sort of snapback bounce that's going to come into play, which again, from a trading standpoint, can be very profitable. And the level here that seems pretty crazy to me, but that's a pretty steep trend line. That really does illustrate that there was a lot of selling that was occurring today, a lot of downwards pressure. But like anything, when pressure builds up and then the pressure kind of alleviates, it can create some nice scenarios. And that's where that trend line here comes into play. Again, nothing is guaranteed. So I'm not saying that if that trend line's broken, then some sort of massive bounce is going to occur. However, is it at least a rational thought to have? Absolutely, and that's the idea of charts, is they're just helping us make rational, valid decisions. Not guaranteed decisions, because those don't exist, but logical decisions. And to think that if the price can break through that trend line, that it could create some sort of worthwhile bounce, to me, that seems to make a lot of sense, given all the context of things. So worth definitely keeping an eye on early next week. Next one here, NIO, and actually a very, very big day today, not from a percentage standpoint, which was solid, but from a technical point of view, a big dynamic occurred today. This will mean more to those that watch past videos, but has everything to do with that red line there, which I've talked about in past videos at 36.65. That has been a very, very stubborn level of resistance. You can see just time and time again, the price would get up around that general area and just get rejected from it. But today the price gapped up nicely above it and has never really looked back to it. But that is definitely now going to be a key area of support moving forward, which is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. Now, preferably speaking, if the price can stay up here above that level right here at 37.35, that would certainly make the chart look the absolute best, absolute strongest moving forward. With that being said, again, if the price were to fall below that level, it doesn't mean that everything's destroyed, because you do still have 36.65. Now, the last thing you'd want to see happen is for the price to drop back below 36.65, because think about that. If the price were to come down there, what would that be doing? Well, that would be putting the price simply right back inside of that range that it just broke out of. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. Once more, not saying that's what's going to happen, but just explaining why 36.65 is a much more important area of support. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, key level now to watch headed into next week, going to be right up there at $38.15. But all in all, very nice day, and finally got that breakout of that crucial level. Next one here, ticker symbol GRNQ. Nice penny stock here with good solid volume and even better. Well, it's a good combination. Good volume and a very nice pattern here. And this pattern is just very straightforward. And when patterns are straightforward, you know that lots of people are watching them. And when lots of people are watching them, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So the top part of that pattern resistance is going to be right up there at the 96-cent mark. So that'll be the area to watch from that angle. And then as far as the supports are concerned, you have that trend line right there. So once more, let me change that to green to represent more of a bullish attribute. And then the final part of the pattern, I'm actually just going to make this all one color to make it easier to see. So we have, again, the resistance up there. We have the support right there. We have the momentum move right there, which is known as the pull portion. And then for you visual people, let's just put a little golf hole down there. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's bullish does not mean that for sure guaranteed it's going to keep going up. But is it a rational thought that this price could continue on moving up next week with the bull pennant pattern? Yeah, it absolutely is. So again, not guaranteed, but a valid thought process to have. So all in all, if you like penny stocks, if you like patterns, well, here you have yourself a nice 30-minute bull pennant pattern. Next one here, ticker symbol LMFA. And this one, I mean, it's not as ugly as it could be, but it's a pretty ugly chart given the context of things. And when you stop and think that the price gapped up, so the price opened right here, ran all the way up there, and I mean, true story, there were some poor souls that were buying up there, and then dropped all the way back down there. That's a pretty rough move. But the reason why I'm doing this is check out the last 30 minutes. Nice green candle all of a sudden. Volume, I mean, it's hard to see because that first 30 minutes was just so crazy, but volume has started to come back in, and this all bounced, well, wouldn't you know it, right off a very key moving average, which is the 200 period simple moving average right there, that pink line. So once more, does this guarantee anything? Absolutely not. However, say it with me, is it now become a valid? Has it become a rational situation to throw out there the question of, hey, is this thing starting to turn around? Is this thing going to, work its way back up there and start to build some sort of bigger trend? No guarantees, but given the last 30 minutes here, given where it bounced, it's at least worth keeping an eye on with that first key level of resistance in the near term, going to be right up there at, let's see, what is that? $4.85, and then after $4.85, next key level up there at $5.20. So yeah, like I said, didn't have any plans of doing this one until that last 30 minutes showed up, which now makes this very interesting. So let's see how it starts to play out next week. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA, essentially a Bitcoin type of stock, and with Bitcoin doing well, of course, this one's been doing well. But to be fair, I mean, this one's been doing well for quite a while. I mean, back here on, September 29th is essentially where this trend started, and this thing just keeps beast moding higher and higher. It's not quite at all-time highs, but it's certainly looking good, and if you're somebody that likes to play trends and just like a good firm foundation of a trend, I would say this one doesn't need to be traded by you, but I would argue it should probably at least be on your watch list because this is a very solid trend. So let's just map out a couple areas here for the people that like to maybe play pullbacks within trends. You have a pullback point right around 47. That's pretty interesting. Or if you want to be a little bit more high maintenance about it and require, I want more of a pullback, well then right there around 45, 85 could be a more interesting area. And then as far as resistance levels are concerned and breakout players, and as you're seeing here, I'm going to zoom back on the chart. Well, maybe I'll go to the daily chart. Yeah, let's just do this. Let's go to the daily time frame so it's a little easier to see and I don't have to go back as... So this just shows that it's been a long time since the price has been up this high. So the next key overarching area of resistance going to be right up there at $50.75. And then after 50.75, next key level up there at about 54.15. So if this momentum continues, those are going to be the next couple of big roadblocks. But I mean, talk about a great way to end the week. Look at that volume. Biggest volume this thing has had in basically a couple of months. So let's see if this momentum carries into next week. Next one, ticker symbol CEI. Now, I fully admit I might just be getting suckered into this one in terms of paying attention to it because I'm so used to having done it. If you're new to the top 10 list, I did this one for several weeks straight, so it almost feels weird to not do it. So maybe I'm getting suckered in, but I also feel like I'm being rational. I mean, look at that opening 30 minutes right there. Huge spike in volume, huge move in price. So once again, it just goes to the question of, okay, it didn't really get much follow through, but it's not like the price went up there and then just collapsed. No, it went up there and then just kind of chopped around and consolidated at a higher level the rest of the day, which now, leads to the question of, hey, is this some sort of leading indicator of a bigger move to come next week? To be fair, maybe not. Maybe the downtrend, maybe this was just kind of a dead cat bounce and the downtrend will continue. That's always possible, and that's why, risk management and all that exists. But, I mean, maybe this is, like I said, some sort of leading indicator. And the next key level of kind of a confirmation of a leading indicator would be, let's see how the price behaves around $1.45, which was, very stubborn in terms of this one today. You can see $1.45 rejected it previously, and then not once, but twice today. The price got up around that area and could never quite push through it. But yeah, I mean, if the price can work its way up there and get a break through it, then at that point, who knows? Maybe that would be a sign that things are about to turn around and the momentum is about to come back in. But also, maybe I'm just totally getting suckered into thinking this is important. We'll see how it all plays out next week. Next one here, ticker symbol NXTD. Now, this is definitely ugly, just pure ugly. But I like to talk about ugly because in many situations, there can be opportunity in ugly. And there's no doubt about it. A lot of people are looking at this like it's the scumbag of the earth, and rightfully so. I mean, great move up to then just essentially collapse all the way back down. But I said almost all the way back down because it didn't quite, right? It actually started to go sideways here at a very interesting location, right above those moving averages. Pink line 200 period moving average, purple line 50 period moving average, which from a technical point of view makes you go, is this pullback finally over? Is there going to be some sort of return back upwards? Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's at least valid to think that way. I wish I could say trading was as easy as, hey, look, the price finally started to go sideways, therefore it's for sure the bottom. No. It's not for sure the bottom, but it could maybe be the bottom. Yeah, I mean, if the price was just still going straight down and I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like maybe the bottom, you'd be, like I said, justified to be like, what are you talking about? The price is literally dropping straight down. But that's not the case here. It started to go sideways, which makes this 38 cent mark very important, because if it drops below there, well, then at that point, it's essentially right back to where it started. So, I mean, at that point, you might as well just call it a big pump and dump. But if this thing can find some support, continues going to go sideways, and then start to head back up, you never quite know. So sometimes these charts that appear to be super, super ugly can then turn out to give some good, solid opportunity. So that wraps up the top 10. And again, want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class next week here that I'm offering. So if you like what you saw here, if you want to learn more about this technical analysis tool, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the class. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, then please communicate that to me, because it does require a good amount of time and effort to put these together. But if you enjoy this format, you can communicate that to me by hitting the like button and leaving a basic comment saying hi. A number of your choosing, a ticker symbol that you traded today. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a comment, communicates to me that it's worth my time and effort. And as long as I know that's the case, then I have no problem continuing to do these videos. So your help in that regard is very much appreciated. And again, if you want to get signed up for the class, definitely do so. And it'll be a good time next week. But everybody take care and have a good weekend.